This guy's out of his mind. There's nothing out here. I get that all the time.
Is this Photoshop?
Right? All right, so you guys can all see me in that picture. I should be red, white, and yellow. So with that being said, everything around me should be somewhat blue or black. What we are looking for on this are the blue and black, the cold spots, to literally start moving on their own. We're going to try to keep a person in view at all times, because once a person leaves and my skin temperature of 97 to 99 degrees leaves, that orange, red, and yellow is going to go somewhere else. So we want to try to keep that base temperature, so there's a big fluctuation. I want a lot of color in this. It's a lot easier to see the blue and black spots when they move on their own. So just because you already kind of had a good gist of how this guy works. So we're going to go with Rob on this one. So you're going to hold that horizontal all night long. And the red square on there means that it's recording. So if it turns to a circle, there has been an update to the FLIR app. So if it starts blinking black and white, you're going to shut it off and start it back up again, and I'll splice the video together so we all have one video to watch, and you guys aren't like, oh, where were we in this spot? I'll put it in order so you guys know, because it's hard to tell when you don't actually have it. It's just colors. So let's get into spirit boxes. So spirit boxes, I do use 3 different types. The funny thing, when I usually have groups of 9, there's usually 3 different groups, 3 different parties. So usually every party has one spirit box. With this, the 2 of your large group is probably going to have 2 of them. I want to make sure like they get one in their hands as well. But what is a spirit box? This is going to sweep through FM radio stations at a quick rate. This is the white noise that Zach Bagans gives you, and then the BS in the middle of the screen of what he thinks he heard, and he's trying to convince you of the same thing. We're going to be doing that in real time. Mine are a little bit different. I set it up to be slowed down. It's not going to go super fast. The radio chatter will come through. That's what we want. We want to try to figure out to the DJs the song lyrics in the commercial we're trying to say. It's a 50-50 shot that I can relate it to the location of where we are, a person I'm talking about in history, or something going on with one of us. That happens all the time too. So again, the nice thing about this one is that it records the entire session for us, no background noise. It's not going to hear any of us. If I say turn it down, turn it all the way down to mute, it's perfectly fine. It's recording at an even level. You're going to have this full recording back as well. So, anybody super intrigued by this guy or this group? You are? Cool. Let me get it set up to record, and you will only have one button to worry about, and that's the volume at the very top of the wheel. You're going to control it all. Okay. Don't smack the button. We're going to continue on with spirit boxes. That's the wrong box. You can see my bag is fully loaded. You guys are lightening it up for me, so thank you for that. Alright, so this is going to do the exact same thing that Anders is doing, only it doesn't record. So this is the one that normally goes to 2 people. So I'm going to go with, I'm sorry, I lost your name already. Kelly, I thought so, I just didn't want to screw it up. So you have one button to worry about on this one as well. There's a button on the side of the ball speaker. You're going to hold it gently to get some volume out of it. When I'm not talking, if I say spirit box is up, again, you're just kind of listening in to see what the DJ song lyrics and commercials say. Obviously, when I'm talking and telling stories, we want to turn it down. You don't want to push it in. It's a gentle touch it off. You got this. Yeah, go ahead and try it out while I get out the next one.
What's the range on this thermal?
As far as degrees?
How far distance?
It'll actually go pretty far, but if you like point it up at the sky, it's obviously going to go into much colder temperatures because it's way too far away. There's nothing to measure up there. But I've seen it go probably a good 50 to 100 feet accurate.
Oh, that's
so. I mean, it's a FLIR camera, so it's used by firemen and mechanics. So like that's the real deal. Like that's not a hokey app that I found that's going to give us some colors on a screen. I wanted the real deal. All right, the last one I'm going to use, and Crystal, this one's going to go to you. So. This one's going to give us a word from time to time in the center of the screen. Does everybody see the word trap? Yeah. Okay, so then it's going to save that word to a list. Now this is last night's list. They had 90 terms because trap wasn't part of that. I'm going to clear them out and start us off fresh. Crystal, here's what I'm going to tell you. Oh, look at that. It's just straight. So what I'm going to tell you guys about this list, 80% of it is absolute BS. It doesn't mean anything. It's the other 5 to 20% that I'm going to go through the list and see what's relevant to where we are and who I'm talking about, and then give you the backlink of where I got my information from. So it gives you somebody's specific name, or you say, hey, what was your kid's names? And it tells you the child's name specifically. Obviously, I'm going to put that in there, and then the backlink to verify the info. So again, it's meant to be for fun. The game you and I are playing is the ghost giving us the word, or is it the app giving us the word?
And it saves it automatically?
Yep, saves it automatically. Okay. The only 2 buttons you need to worry about, I'll say, Crystal, where are we at with the list? Because I will follow up with you throughout the night. You hit the little calendar next to the word, go ahead and smack it, and then it's going to put it into the list. The only other button you need to worry about is that circle back. It takes you back to the main screen. Fair?
Okay.
All right, got 3 spirit boxes out there. Let's see here. What do we want to go to next? So, EMF meters are pretty much an absolute must. So with spirit boxes and the amount of things that we have going on out here, this is a pretty similar one as you guys would see on TV. It's very sensitive. It's going to measure all 3 different types of electromagnetic fields. It will go up to 25 milligauss at its max. If it goes into a rhythm or a pulse, it's probably something man-made. We don't want that. We want it to go erratic. We want it to go a little bit nuts. So, with that said, you're nodding your head, you know how that works. You're the first person to kind of give us an indication that something might be going on. We're still going to try to debunk it first, and then kind of move.
So if it's like all the way over here. Yeah.
If it does anything,
does it like vibrate?
Does nothing.
No, it's like, okay.
Anything off that 1 green light, we're going to look at it and see what's going on.
Like when
Yeah.
something's around, it usually bounces, like
Yep.
the light. That's, I think, what he's saying you're looking for. Because it might just go and stay. But
The second one, this is a 3-part thing, so it does 3 different functions. The first thing it's going to do is it has an EMF built into it as well. So, Anthony, was it? Yeah. This one's going to go to you. The top number, anything above 2.5, is equivalent to her second green dot. So anything above, hers only goes to 25, yours will spike up over 100. So anything above 2.5, I get excited about. We're still going to try to debunk it. We also have ambient temperature at the bottom. If Rob finds something on his camera, we can either prove it or debunk it with the yellow probe at the top with the bottom number. And last but not least, it has a motion sensor in it. So what does this guy do? Hopefully it'll stay settled. So if anything gets close to the antenna that I just pulled up, it's going to go off like it's going off now. However, we are somewhat close to parking meters. Our ley lines for that are underneath the sidewalk, so it's strong enough to interrupt this field and make it go off. But you just noticed that was from my hand. So again, we don't use this all the time because there's a lot of electrical things around us. I'll show you more about that at the first location. Just leave this little flap open for us to operate with. Right now, focus on the big red numbers.
Okay.
All right, so the 2 of you are going to be partnered up, just so you guys know. This is the neuralizer for Men in Black. You guys are not going to remember a damn thing by the time we're done. So I'm a movie buff in case you guys didn't tell. We're going to be working with lasers. Lasers get Nick in a lot of trouble, so just kind of keep them on the ground. It's a big deal. So with that said, you can't see the lasers from the pen to the ground until something passes through it. This is what we're trying to capture right here, only we don't want something that's human, right? We're going after something else. So that one's super cool, and then this one gives us red squares. Again, we capture something here with the red squares, we have photographs of it, I can put it in 3D software and have a full view, 3D view of what we caught with measurements. So have I caught anything with it yet that the 3D software will recognize? No. I've been using it for about 9 months, 10 months roughly, so hopefully tonight's our night. So lasers both go to one person, so I know where they're at and kind of keep an eye on them. When I say you're going to be partnered up with her, you're going to be taking pictures through the lasers all night long. So point one of your lasers down on the ground for me, that way you can figure out how they work. That one has a button on the side. You're literally going to be taking pictures through it. I don't care what they look like down, through it. You got it. It will turn off from time to time. There's obviously the big button is to take the picture. The button next to it turns it back on again.
Okay. It just pushes it up and down.
Okay. You think I forgot about you?
no. I thought I was going to be carried.
Love it. So, you're my guinea pig tonight. This is my new device. So then,
with the glow
Oh,
from
look at that.
stabilization.
He said
not necessarily. You'll be
I got
fine.
this.
So, just a quick demo. You guys should not be able to see me in that camera, right? Everything should be pretty dark. And now we're going to turn on some lights. This is full spectrum lighting. So obviously we can't see it with the naked eye. Now, then, you're going to be kind of the viewfinder. You're going to be telling me how to handle it. So if I need to move the camera for you, we can do that. You have 2 buttons to worry about. There's a little red button here that fixes the light. Point it down for me. I'll demonstrate. This is night vision. We don't want night vision. The other tour people already don't like me. They don't like to raise more attention to us than we actually have to. So we're going to stick to the full spectrum lighting only. You're going to tell me which one works best. What angle do we need to put it at? Are you right or left-handed? You and I are going to chat a lot in the first couple of locations. We're only going to record in 2 locations with that camera. The reason for that is the files for that thing are giant. It takes literally overnight for me to be able to convert it into one video for you. It takes a good 9 to 10 hours to convert it. So I set it up as soon as I get home. And again, it'll be a 30-minute video that takes a good 8 to 9 hours to process.
A lot of frames.
Yeah, it's a lot. So we're going to record in about 2 locations. Again, it'll be about 30 to 40 minutes.
A lot of gigabytes.
Right. So 9 minutes is 4 gigabytes. If you're a techie, you know what that means. It's huge. So everybody's got a device. Everybody's kind of cool with what they have, right? Cool. So let me tell you why we started here. Of course, the building I told you guys to meet me at, 251 East Bay Street, is haunted.
I know you told me.
So with that said, oh, the bag's so much lighter. Cannot thank you enough. So it's hot out here. So I'm glad I wore white for next week. But anyway, with that said, this place used to be called Big John's back in the 1970s. Big John was a football player for the 1947 New York Giants. He used to tell the bartender if the cadets coming over from the Citadel, if they were old enough to drink or not. One night, 2 guys come in, they're not old enough, he has the bartender kick them out, they leave pretty pissed off. The next night, they come back and try to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. Big John sees what's going on, he starts pounding these guys into the floor, right? A couple of shots go off. John gets hit in the neck, and he gets up and he goes back to the bar and tells the bartender to get him another beer and get the 2 guys on the floor an ambulance. Now, funny story, because first off, John's the one that got shot in the neck, and second, nobody died in that story, so what's haunting the place? The bullet hole ricocheted off his neck and landed in the wall. People that sit in the front of the bar get a little queasy, nauseous headaches. This is where your possession piece comes in. Anybody feels any of those symptoms at all and needs to know immediately, we will move out of the area as a group and get that person to a safer place. I don't say this to scare you, but you will be dealing with paranormal activity tonight. I don't know how it's going to affect you. This is technically not a scary tour because you guys are all in control with your devices, and we'll be able to determine if that person is not feeling well, is it from paranormal activity, or is it something just from the heat? Does that make sense? Again, I've had people pass out in the dead of winter because there's too much activity, so it happens. So let's not talk about our health because that's the scariest part of the whole tour. The same building I just talked about, we had a big earthquake here in 1886. If you've never taken a tour in Charleston, now you know there was a big earthquake here. It's a big one because this is Charleston. We don't get earthquakes. This is allegedly where the first death occurred. The mantle you see in the middle of the building also wraps around to the front. A piece of that broke off, struck somebody in the head, and apparently you could see his ghost in the middle of East Bay Street. Notice I said all of that apparently and allegedly, only because I don't have any proof. It's just a great segue story, so you guys aren't thinking about getting sick on my tour. So, again, are you guys all ready to go ghost hunting?
Yes.
Any questions so far? All right, you guys are into it. I can feel it. Like, you guys are like all eyes on me. You can tell I'm intense, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's go this way.
Right. Right. Yep. Yep.
How exciting.
Huh? Electrical meter.
Just a little rhythm.
Okay, all right.
We stopped when we were walking.
Now you got a little bit more.
Yep.
Okay. So again, my eyes are always on your device, no matter where I'm at with other people. Let's go ahead and turn the spirit boxes down because we got to talk to you guys about how to use them. So welcome to the Big Red Barn lot. Okay. It's obviously because there's a big red barn behind you. So yeah.
Our original.
I know. This is where we keep the horses for your carriage on. Okay, the horses are still in there. Obviously, there's one on the curb, but we're not going to do our best not to disturb him or the man going through the front. Okay, so again, we're going to hit a few blocks tonight. Cameras. People don't like their cars being filmed, so just kind of keep that in mind. Fair enough. But what's the history here? It's very simple. Your entire time with me is going to be like a class 101 of ghost hunting. This is level 1. We're going to keep it nice and simple. This is the same red barn where we had horses that delivered milk and eggs to the residents of Charleston. That's it. So let's talk about spirit boxes. This is not TV. This is not, is somebody here? And somebody hears the word no. They answered you, they're here, okay? So we're gonna stay away from yes and no questions all night long. We want details, we want the specifics. We need to actually have the evidence that somebody was here and it's an intelligent answer. So you're gonna ask things like, what color is the barn? If you don't know that it's red based on the name of it, I don't know how to help you. But you're gonna look and listen for the color red. If you don't hear the color red, they may try to find a word on your spirit boxes that are noisy to tell you something that is specifically red. Blood, heart, fire truck, all three of those things are specifically red. Does that make sense to everybody? It's a clue. Think of this thing as Bumblebee from Transformers. It's their voice box. That's what they're looking for. How are they going to convey the message? So it's even come up that way on yours before. What color is the barn? Blood. Happens all the time. I wouldn't say all the time, but I've seen it multiple times. So in the event you don't get an answer from those type of questions, what color is the barn, move on to something else, ramp it up. What's inside the barn? Animals, horses, draft horses. Their delivery, milk and eggs. I will always give you keywords with every story I'm going to tell you tonight. Over there was 1947, New York Giants and Big John. Over here it's milk, delivery, and eggs. Milk and eggs could also be protein and calcium. So kind of keep that in mind as well. We're always looking for the clues to tie it together. So again, spirit boxes, if you're going to get close to that building, keep your spirit boxes audible to you only. The horses don't like the white noise. They will kick and scare the shit out of you, I'll be honest. As far as the lasers, definitely no lasers on the barn or on vehicles. Vehicles, those lasers are strong enough to set off car alarms. So I've seen it. I don't like to run with 9 people. Somebody gets left behind, and looking at shoes, it might be me. So you guys are all wearing good shoes tonight. So again, let's keep them off of cars. People don't like their cars being filmed. There's going to be little rules with every location, just because this is a little bit more in depth than storytelling on a street corner. So I do want to work with the cameras first and then move over to the millimeter. So cameramen, if you guys want to stick with me for just a moment, obviously you can hang around too, so you can kind of listen in and you watch the words come through. But we're going to spread out amongst this lot. We're only going to be here like 5 minutes a week and move on. I just want you guys to get used to your devices and get used to listening into your spirit boxes for sure. Go find some answers. You may hear double-digit numbers, which could be Big John's teammates' jersey numbers. So again, I don't get excited with one clue. You hear the number 40. He hears the word "come to my art class." Art Faircloth was number 40 on Big John's team. Those are 2 clues that solidify where we are. Does that make sense? All right. Go put some. Whoa, this guy. Oh, I seen him earlier. Yeah, he's a little tipsy.
He was running down the block.
Yeah. So he's not doing so good.
So, do you want me to tell you every time there's like a yeah, right?
The spirit boxes should technically be following you. Wherever you get a hot spot, they need to be near you to hopefully get some answers out of their box. Same thing with Anthony's elevator. So he actually has an EMF detector as well. Each spirit box is probably paired up with another EMF detector so you know where to stop. Kind of pair up. See how everybody kind of works in pairs? Alright, so you guys are going to be working together. Yours is very simple. I need to move it now that you've held it for a few minutes. So, I mean, this will move either way, however you want me to do it. I mean, you just got to put a little muscle into it. If you want to move it the other way and hold it with your left hand, switch it up. If there's spots on here, let me know. I'm trying to keep, I do sanitize everything, so this will get water spots on it.
You just want me to hold it like this whole time?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you're going to be kind of watching it. The recording, you don't have to necessarily watch it because I'm going to watch it tomorrow morning. Just because I'm trying to find some evidence with this thing so that way we can try to figure things out. Cool. Alright, yeah, just keep mindful of Cowboy over there. You're the biggest one here, so we're gonna be relying on you on that. And you got the thickest beard. So, alright, so do you kind of have the gist of why you want to try to keep somebody in view at all times with the colorization of that thing?
Because it stays more steady.
Well, when you have somebody in view, we're going to be the warmest thing out here. So it's going to go to the extreme. So again, it's going to go to 97 to 99 degrees. She may even look like she's hotter than that just because she's taking on some of the heat from the ambient temperature. So with that said, if you go to something else, it's going to put the hottest point on something that's cooler than 97 to 99 degrees. We want a big fluctuation of color. It's just much easier to see those cold spots when they do move. The next location, I will show you evidence on there so you have a better gist of what you're looking for. And I wait till the next location because that's where it happened. So again, I'm getting a little bit of skepticism from you. Is that fair or is this not fair? Okay.
So you want a person in view?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be Crystal. It
Right.
could be anybody.
Yeah, right.
So But I mean, even
How
off in the
hot's your
distance, it's have fun with this. That's why you're here. Let me see your word list. What do you got?
Cop.
What came up before that?
Society.
Harry. So we have a name. So hopefully, if there's a Harry on the team, we also have his jersey number coming through somewhere else. When you're asking questions on this thing, because you may feel uncomfortable asking mid-air, hey, who's here with me, kind of thing. But in the event you want to ask the questions that I'm kind of imposing on you, then the answers can go anywhere. My audio, his audio, your word list, or the other 2 spirit boxes. I never know where the answers are going to go. A lot of times if I have a smaller group, I'll use a spirit box and I'll walk away from my group of 5 and say, hey, Eliza, how many people did I bring with me? They'll turn around and say, it just said the number 5. That's proof that I asked the question, they got the answer.
Right.
I do it often. With a group like this, I don't use a device. This way I can keep up with everybody.
Right.
So it makes things a lot easier and more fun for you guys if I'm like, all right, here's what's going on over there. You know what I mean? Like I'm the catch-all. Like I'm just putting all the clues together. But have fun. In here, you're gonna have metal, asphalt, wood, brick, all that kind of stuff. Just get used to how the temperatures kind of fluctuate. Make a quick lap. Again, we're not gonna be here long. So I want to get us onto something a little bit more historical, right? Instead of trying to talk to ponies. All right.
Harry, what number are you when you played?
Can you hold this? My shoelace is untied.
Alright, how we doing? Where's the other spirit box at? Where'd she go?
Let's go front.
Something about this particular spot that has to do it.
What is it next? What is another place that you want to go? Tell me when to stop.
In the event we actually capture something like that, what that's going to do to your EMF is it's going to move a lot faster. So now that you see it move kind of slowly,
Is this a better spot for you?
Go where?
on the back, right? When you see the flap open,
Left or right?
there's 2 buttons. The one closest to the edge, you're going to press it left diagonal.
Right.
No, the one closest to the edge. Click it all the way in. Down. Feel it click. There you go. All right. What just happened now, it just created an EMF field around the antenna.
What is your name?
That EMF field kind of kinks up. There is a way to reset it to prove that it's paranormal activity. Along the right-hand side, you're going to use your thumb and feel 4 buttons. Nope, on the right-hand side. Yep, so there's 4 buttons. The very bottom one is the one you want to use to reset. looking for food pink, straighten it back up.
No radio.
I normally give this to females. I mean,
When they
they
talk,
walk more gracefully.
that's when it breaks in.
So, with that said, your steps might make it docile
Right.
what it's doing right now. But again, I can't
So
say what's
this
happening
right now
Go ahead and try to reach that again.
I'm getting darker blue in the corner.
Yes. So that's what I'm saying. I definitely asked them.
What is your name?
When we're in a little higher active rotation, because again, it's kind of a test model. If you're worried that it's making you walk all the time, set it down on the curb.
Can you repeat your name? I thought you said something.
We'll talk more about that at our next location. Also, keep in mind, I have the field set pretty small because the wider it makes it, it's easier for bugs to pass through it, and I don't want the false positives. So we want it pretty small because we're going to be outdoors walking.
Why are we at this spot?
That was not you. That was something else. Standing pretty close. Now, keep in mind, this number works
Something about weight loss?
So it is not picking up anything that's being generated.
Are you trying to say I lost weight?
All right, you guys ready to learn some real history?
Do we get something over
You guys
here?
got something going on.
Dark blue.
Dark
What
blue
do
on
you
the
wanna
metal.
do?
She's picking up EMF. Said, look under here.
Well, that's because her skin temperature's in there, and this is going to be over 20 degrees difference from her skin temperature.
Huh? Says nothing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless it was moving around,
Okay.
that's where I would get excited. If it was swirling and bustling and trying to make a formation of some sort, that's where I'm like, yes, we finally got something.
For the laser in the camera, should you
Yes.
face it the camera down or like, like that?
Yeah, she wants to go straight through. She's got to shoot from the hip. And you can take photos and take these pictures. These pictures are to use that.
Okay.
So at times I might say, hey, this is a great spot of this sinkhole or steeple. When we do get through the specific alley to go to, then a no razor zone, but you're going to be kind of leading the way. So that way we can get the pictures of the alley before we walk out. You capture it all with the camera.
Okay.
So again, you guys are kind of like back and forth because lasers aren't always in the day.
Right.
So it's kind of a mix up. All right. We got bug spray going on.
Yeah, my legs are literally being
So I wear an anklet with this weird oil that my wife uses for bug repellent, and I have to wear it every night because 20 plus years of wearing black socks because I was in management has eaten the hair away at my ankles.
Yeah,
So-
same here.
Giddy up,
I got no hair on my ankles.
You're giddy up?
No, I'm the same thing.
Oh.
I have the same problem.
I was going to say, we're next to a horse barn. You heard giddy up? Let's go learn some real history. Let's go this way.
Thank you. You got it. I was biting my finger.
I just got it.
Sorry.
Probably turn your RAM pod off. So you click the white button in the back and push the antenna.
That was what's that?
I was shooting her back spray on my legs and then I gave her the
Citronella. Let's smell it.
I think so too. Maybe they know I can't see the Where's your water?
Back pocket.
Alright, welcome to another beautiful site, everybody. I told you guys this wasn't going to be pretty. So if you don't know where to park in Charleston, by the time you're done with me, you have issues I can't fix. So, what was this place? Do we have anything going on yet, EMF-wise? Nothing yet? Yeah, it varies. Sometimes it starts real way. Alright, cool. So this place used to be the Eliza, not yet. This is a story, so I don't want to be a lot of memes. So, Eliza and Charles Pinckney Mansion used to sit in the front of this lot. So who the hell were they? They had a son named Charles, they had a nephew named Charles. The son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. Pretty big deal for us, but you guys are all on vacation and nobody wants to talk about South Carolina politics, and neither do I. So we're going to move on to Eliza because there's a lot more that goes on with her anyway. So this is not a place where I'm going to give you answers like what color is George Washington's white horse, like we did with the red barn back there. So this is going to be, you're going to get answers from your spirit boxes and hopefully some activity on these cameras that we have going on. So with that said, let's get into it. Eliza married Charles at a young age. I'm not going to give you what that age is, but I will tell you that Charles was over double her age, if that kind of helps you out. She married Charles because her father over in England thought he was dying, and he wanted to see all his kids one last time. She didn't think he was dying, so she got married. This is the 1740s. No such thing as citizenship. This was a simple young lady putting her foot down saying, Dad, I'm not going anywhere. She was right. Dad didn't die just yet. So he starts sending over wedding gifts after he got better. One of those gifts happened to be the plant indigo. Indigo is a plant that makes blue dye, that makes our blue jeans blue. Only one person wearing it tonight. Lucky you, you're the winner. So that's how we still use it today. Like, it's a big deal. This is exactly where it started. The layout of this land was the mansion in the front, Eliza's garden kind of just in front of us, and then we're standing where the slave and servant quarters would have been. So indigo was a huge deal. She calls her dad up and says, I got to be able to sell this stuff. He gives her a couple of contacts after she was done experimenting with it here with her slaves, teaching her how to keep it cultivated in our cold temperatures of the winter. So she's a businesswoman in the middle of colonial times, an absolutely unheard of, absurd idea. But it did happen, and it was a good thing because our rice plantations were going downhill. So she swooped right in and was able to save South Carolina. I'm just touching the base of the things she's done for these colonies, but there's a lot of weird facts about her that I usually kind of inspire you guys to ask about. She's the second wife named Eliza from Charles. They both go by their maiden name. They both start with the letter L. You can obviously ask anything about her age when she got married. Remember, Charles was double her age. You can ask anything you want to about her death. Eliza, how did you die? Where are you buried? How old were you when you died? And what U.S. president was a pallbearer at your funeral? Most people go after that one first because it's pretty solid. You can't mistake that answer. You can ask what happened to the mansion. It's obviously not here anymore. You can ask when that tragedy happened. Yes, it was a tragedy. I'll give you that clue. The children. Let's go into that real quick before I set you guys free. Tread lightly. There's a tragedy among the kids. If you're going to ask about the kids, how many boys, how many girls, get some names, leave it alone. Among those, like I said, if you poke the bear too much, all activity will stop. If somebody gets too curious and wants to know, I'll tell you about it later, just not here. It's just one of those things where we don't want to poke the bear and ruin the tour for everybody. I've seen it dozens of times. So, and again, it won't just stop here, it'll stop throughout the rest of the night because we really don't go far. It's only about half a mile as far as our tour goes. So again, we're going to find hot spots in here. We're going to stay away from the vehicles, like going in between them, but there's lots. I mean, it's pretty open tonight, so feel free to roam. Definitely get your recorder started, and you're basically just going to make laps and kind of see what's going on with everybody. His does not record audio. It's very muffled because he has a waterproof case on his camera, so I can hear those with earphones on, but it is kind of a weird thing. I'm mainly looking for visuals from his camera. You want to keep going with yours. Again, people don't like their cars being filmed, and lasers, again, keep them off the vehicles. I don't like to run. It's never fun. All right, I'm going to check all of you guys in based on the websites that you guys booked your tickets on, so give me just a few minutes, and I'll start bouncing around with all of you. Where are we at with our word list so far? Anything crazy come up?
Right now it just came up as beware.
Beware. Ooh, okay. It's probably part of the 80% because it is meant to be scary. What came before that? Give me a few words before that. Let's see if we're on the right track.
Inside, nervous, belong, adapt, eat, do, of, and when we got here, toward.
Tour?
Toward.
Toward. A lot of directions, it seems like. Okay. So nothing specific enough. It all seems pretty vague. So let's get some questions out there and let's see if we can get some answers. Have some fun. Turn up your REM pods. Spirit box is up loud and proud in here so you guys can hear them. Go have some fun. I'll be with you guys in just a minute. Beware. Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
How old are you? Are you married? Ask my box.
Stay away from the cars.
I want to go up there. I want to change my shoes and go up there, okay? Saying drink. Knows I need a drink.
Temperature.
Sometimes the evidence will steer me in a different direction. It's usually from this list. This is the first piece of evidence that I actually go through because it gives me timestamps. So I don't know if you noticed on the words, but it tells the date and time on every one.
Yeah.
That helps me look at the other pieces. So if it says after 30 minutes, 20 seconds, I know I can look at the video. I can look at another spirit box and their time limit and see what happened there. I actually have the capability to take his video and actually put all of the audio from everything underneath it, and I can almost tie in those words like, oh, this happened at this, and have one video to watch. But it's very complicated to watch because you have the audio, you have the, the audio from the spirit box. I mean, I do that for my own investigations, like how did this line up when I asked the question, kind of thing. So
where is this picking up the words from?
So they're just automatically generated. So if this was sitting in my living room, which is not haunted, it's just going to spit out a word every 3 to 5 minutes for a spooky effect. Again, this thing's meant to be a game. It's a college kid thing. So with that said, at times, this actually gives me a good 5 to 20% on a daily basis. And I've had tours where it's given me one term that was relevant, and then I've had other nights where it's like, oh my God, there's like 50% of this actually makes sense. And it all in its specific details. The name Charles, Eliza's maiden name, the names of the kids, the war that one of the kids was in. Like it'll literally just keep going and going and going if the activity's strong. I look at moon phases a lot. I'm sure you can understand why. This is my progression. Right now we're in the middle of going into a first quarter moon. So again, the new moon is when I get the most activity, either the night of or the night before. So it's kind of right after that new moon, it starts to slow down a little bit. Full moon, it's the strangest thing. I get like absolutely no activity. I might have 2 or 3 pieces where I'm like, this was super light. You would think a full moon, it's like the opposite. We're dealing with the paranormal world, not our own. So again, we know full moon, people go a little nutso, right? So in their world, it's the new moon. Everything resets. So it's an opposite effect. And it's just something that I kind of concluded based on what I get on a nightly basis.
Can this thing hear me?
No. Not at all.
Just trying to.
So,
No, because I literally said, let's go up there for a drink afterwards, and then we're walking and it said drink. That's why I was like, what the hell?
So
Can this thing hear
whoever's
me?
here is listening and kind of repeating that back to you. So if it gives you maybe the name of the bar, so I'm trying to remember the name of that bar. Is that the Amen bar?
That's the rooftop.
But
It's called the rooftop.
It is?
Yeah, I think that's the rooftop at the Rendu.
No, the Vendu is down by Queen Street. So I want to say that that's called the Amen bar. I don't eat out, nor do I drink, so I don't know. Sorry.
What's the name of that bar?
We're gonna pass it, so
That's crazy.
we'll make sure you get to look at the front door and see what the name of that bar is.
I will.
So that would be interesting if the name of the bar comes up.
Okay.
That's cool stuff.
That's in the list.
Eliza, what's the name of that bar on the roof?
It's saying free. I think it's the Ansons. Eliza, is it the car or is it you?
It's more like they look around and then
Yeah, that's
they're
fine.
like, oh no, we don't want to come.
Yeah, that's not it. Or did you not hope it was there last night? They were fine there, you know what I mean? What are you going to do to knock you away?
look good.
What?
That look good. Good if we were a black boy now.
Cousin? You got a cousin?
Eliza, what's the name of your children?
I asked her how old she was. So Lada's here for good? She's back full time with you?
Not full time. Ask questions.
This thing doesn't hear me.
Eliza, what year were you born?
Read it.
Eliza, are you here?
Closed.
Angry that your house is no longer here?
You're going nuts right now.
Because the car was blue. Indigo, blue.
We asked who it was, and then there's a new
Oh,
I've only heard the name Bob a couple of times.
no Robert's here. But yeah, you definitely are in the right spot. So keep that thing going and keep asking questions. I didn't get a chance to show you any evidence, so let me bring that up for you. It actually happened up in that corner where that truck is sitting.
Just now?
No, this was about a year ago. It's my most definitive evidence. That's why I like to show it off.
Oh, okay. let's see.
Showing the girls' laser dot stuff. But this is the wall right here, right? So you're gonna see the two living heads. Oh, sorry. There's two living heads walking by the wall. Oh, come on. Sorry. They're gonna walk from left to right. They're orange, so that's kind of your point of reference. Now we're gonna look for the dead people. Notice there's gonna be a person in view on the right-hand side the entire time. They're gonna come up right there. Did you see the two black heads walking by? So that's what we're looking for. That's the black motion that I was talking about earlier, that I want to see it moving. So I've had this analyzed by firemen just because they work with this camera all the time. So you can literally see two heads moving together frame by frame as you kind of go through it. So again, you're literally looking for those black and blue spots to move on their own in a somewhat intelligent fashion.
Right.
So loosen up your shoe a little bit.
Just like really.
How you doing on water? Since you're out, do you need another one?
Okay, on water. It's just like I'm definitely hydrated. I can
Okay.
Yeah, it was more crazy over there too, but like right now it's going. But it's staying at like under like 1, like 0.2. Now the wind is on.
So again, one of the sons, his name was Thomas. He was in the battle of Camden. He led the battle. When he came back, his leg was shattered from a gunshot wound. Shrapnel stuck in his leg. So he was stuck on a cane the rest of the day. So, but that leg thing comes up here often. And
Like people's legs hurt them?
you're about the 3rd person that has happened to in the past year.
That's so crazy.
I'm sorry that went straight to a paranormal thing for me.
No, I mean, I was fine. My leg's just like, it's
No, that's
killing me.
why
Like, I
it went
can't
for me
take
too.
one
I
more
was like,
step.
what's the reason? I just want to know if she was hurting like that the whole
So that's
time.
why I asked if he heard any names that Thomas's name came up. Seems to be showing himself a lot more like based on what this guy's competition is, but he didn't have more that kind of thing. Like there are a lot of people. So I feel bad that your legs hurting, but it doesn't surprise me that somebody's hurting.
Sweating. Not a sweater.
So it's really hot out here. I'll keep following up with you. Scream at me if somebody does wrong. Girls,
So weird.
I'll find me if I'm with
Yeah.
somebody else. Yeah, just somebody stay with me.
Guys, what's going on? What you got going on?
There's some thermal here.
What's that over there? That's a can, right? Yeah, it's metals, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be cooler.
Krista, how are we doing on your list?
When her leg was hurting her, the word attack came up.
What else do we have going on?
Rebecca.
Can't relate that to anything. But like I was telling her, one of the sons was in a war. He led the war, and when he came back, his leg was shattered from the war.
Yeah.
This wasn't the first time that I've seen somebody's legs start hurting while I'm bringing them here.
It's crazy. Yeah, right when we walked over, right when I walked over there, the word changed to attack. When her leg was hurting her.
Because again, obviously he got attacked, and that
Right.
was just south of here. It wasn't too far.
Right.
Anders is into it. He is in it.
Walking it off. Yeah.
Let me pull everybody over to this area. We'll get you guys some answers, and then we'll kind of move on to the next location. 'Cause, like I said, I'm worried about that leg.
Dad.
All right, guys, I gotta get you guys some answers.
It was so weird. I didn't want to sit on the floor. My leg was killing me.
Ariana.
Right, still right now?
It's like
Pins and needles?
Pins and needles.
Yeah, yeah.
But I was in
Oh,
like
you thought?
pain.
Like you like fell asleep?
Yeah, like it fell asleep and it was like actually like painful, like shooting pain.
And I want to say that the last person that this happened to, it was the right leg as well.
It was so
And that
weird.
was in early June. It was a friend of mine, actually. He came down here from Kentucky
So
and
weird.
wanted to take his family out on the coast time. So, again, I'm going to look into which leg it was. And I do want to get her out of this area, so I'm going to be pretty brief with these answers. So go ahead and shut off your REM pod, even though it's going crazy. Yeah, just because, I mean, we're going to have the video and audio for the...
He'll tell you.
So, the most interesting thing going on right now is that Kelly's leg is bothering her, and one of the sons of Eliza and Charles was in a war called the Battle of Camden. He led the war, and when he came back, his leg was shattered from that war. We did get the word attack on the list right when your leg started hurting, So again, I told you, this stuff can happen. And this isn't the first time somebody's leg is hurt in this location. So I'm gonna find out which leg it was. I don't think I found it last time, but I'll dig deeper. This seems a little bit more severe than my last friend that was on the tour. Let's go through the answers real quick, and then this way, did you guys go rogue with any questions, or did you pretty much stick to the questions I gave you?
Well,
I felt like I was trying to just start any type of conversation I could.
I kind of just asked
making
them,
a lot of
can you show me the entrance, like where, or like bring me to the entrance, and a lot of times kept bringing me over there. I'm not sure if that was the entrance.
What was the question you got where it said, yes, you idiot?
Oh, I said, what did I say? Oh, I said, who is that? And he said, it's me, you idiot.
So, interesting. It's a direct answer, obviously. We just don't know from whom.
Yeah.
Did we hear anything else in your spirit box?
I'm having a real hard time making anything out.
He said right here, and I said, is this the entrance?
It sounds like she needs to stick with you because she's getting a better gist. And
Yeah.
because your
And
party's so
because
large, guys,
also,
feel free to
allow me,
intermingle
I'm
your
sure you fucking
devices.
hear me, so
So, again, you guys are all one party. I'm okay with it. Everything's been sanitized. Did you hear anything specific out of your spirit box?
No, I just asked, like, once I started feeling pain, I was like, are you mad at me? Did I do something? Who's hurting me? But I was in genuine pain.
So I'm going to
But I
definitely be
didn't hear
looking for the name
anything.
Thomas when I'm going through this data, just because of this instance. So
Rebecca came up.
Rebecca came up on mine.
So I can't figure out like if that's somebody's wife or something along those lines. I'm going to have to dive into Rebecca as well. So again, nothing comes to mind right off the top of my head because it's not a direct pink me. If it's in by marriage, I'll have to find it. So I'll definitely dive in. Where we're standing is where the mansion caught fire in 1861 from a great fire. Every tour guide's going to tell you about a great fire because we've had dozens.
He said shooting here, something like that, when we were standing here too.
Okay. Well, this is the half of the mansion that went down. So the fire went from Peninsula Coast to Peninsula Coast. The building was just in the way. So to my knowledge, nobody got hurt from this building. It's just a matter of it was a tragedy to see it go down. Just based on who lived here. Eliza's death, she was 70 years old when she died in Philadelphia from breast cancer. And she's also buried in Philadelphia. So if that kind of gives you the gist of why I don't take you to cemeteries, I don't get much activity there when I investigate them myself. Stories in a cemetery, Charleston's one giant cemetery based on the amount of tragedies we've had. So again, you're going to go to places that you love after you're gone, which is why we come here and hear from Eliza. So a lot of people want to know how many cemeteries are we going to? 0. We don't get activity there. Think about breast cancer for a second, and she died in 1793. There's no such thing as breast cancer. So, we're going based off of her medical records. 9 out of 10 credible websites will tell you that it was breast cancer, indeed, based on the medical records. The pallbearer, any guesses now that you guys know what year she died?
I didn't hear what you said.
1793.
I thought I heard Grant at one point, but I don't think that's too early.
Too late.
Right. Well, Grant's too late, right.
Close. Jackson was...
Well, 93 would have to be like second or third president. Jefferson or
First. George Washington. So, and that wasn't in the tour guide stuff that they make us learn. It was something that came up out of my evidence. George Washington showed up on a spirit box twice in 1 week, and I had to dive in, found out he was a pallbearer at her funeral. Yeah, and I get other clues wrapped around him too. So George Washington is a lot of syllables to get out on the spirit box. You guys listen to see how close those things skip. But I do get Martha, Wood, Sherry. Why Wood, by the way? Teeth? Teeth, good job. Rumor has it, he had wooden teeth, wooden dentures. So, let's see. Children. Go into that mess. So there was Charles that I automatically gave you from the start. Thomas, which I told you about from the Battle of Camden. Then there was baby George. George was named after Eliza's father. So now we have 3 Georges. We have dad, son, and president. That's why I always need the second clue. And then there was one daughter, Harriet. And Harriet actually lived in the Myrtle Beach area because she married in Horry. Myrtle Beach is in Horry County. So that's where she lived. A lot of letter writing going back and forth, and I do get things related to that. By the way, you guys all kind of passed my little subliminal test. I told you we weren't going to give you questions like what color is George Washington's white horse. George Washington was the president that was the pallbearer. I did that on purpose to see who's going to come up with it automatically with that subliminal message. You guys all passed with a fail. So good job. How are you feeling now before I explain what happened?
It's still a little tingling.
Okay, so as we kind of walk up East Bay Street, definitely want to keep something with Kelly so that way I'm going to walk slower than I normally do. To kind of keep her stable, and because we're going to be walking slower, I'm going to cut out Lodge Alley that I told you guys about where we're going to take the pictures, and we're going to go straight to an area that actually has a lot of other tours going on. So I'm just doing that for the safety of her, and that way this tingling goes on all night long. I don't want to say we're going to wrap up pretty quickly, but I want to make her stop in areas that way she can rest. So I want to make sure she can get back to normal. And again, I'm tying it to here for now. We'll see if it continues. The interesting thing is, as we continue, there's another story where somebody's leg gets hurt. So
Hopefully it's not me.
she was 22, Charles was 45. The maiden names that you guys were asking about, Eliza Lucas Pinckney, planned to be Indigo. Eliza Lamb Pinckney would be Insignificant Earthlight. So Lamb and Lucas were the names we were looking for there. Last night, the name Lucas showed up on his spirit box at the end of the tour, half a mile from here. So again, the answers can still come up. That's why I like to keep this really close. It's only half a mile. What else did we go? Did I miss anything else? You seem to be catching me on a lot of stuff. Alright, so we're actually going to go up to Raper's Alley instead of going down and around the crazy circle I normally take you, and we'll kind of get up to that other area. So we're still going to go about 2-3 blocks, but I'm going to walk a little slower just because we're kind of cutting a little bit of time out, so that way we can keep up. EMF meters, they're going to go crazy based on parking meters. So spirit boxes, because of the stories I'm about to tell, if you guys hear anything, please let me know. There's like 20 stories on that corner we're going to. I usually stick to 2, but if something steers me in another direction, I want to know what you guys are hearing. Normally I would have you listen for names for Lodge Alley, but it hasn't been very active lately anyway. So it's perfectly fine if we're cutting it out. Questions, comments, concerns? Alright, we're going to cut through this area.
I don't know. Why did you stop that?
They like pulled out. Huh? Dinner? Why, you hungry?
Yeah.
I'm not hungry at all.
Kind of red flag.
What do you do if it rains? Canceled or?
Depends on how much rain. I have equipment. It's not about you guys melting, it's not about my equipment getting ruined. So if it rains pretty heavy steadily, yeah, I can refund or reschedule, whatever the customer wants to do. Yeah. Some people, they get upset because I have to cancel, but I'm like, I got a couple $1,000s of equipment here. You know? For most people, they're pretty cool with just about rescheduling, and I'm easy to refund it back. I mean, there's nothing I can do about weather. In Hurricane Week, I just shut it down because nobody's booking anyway. Like if a hurricane's coming through, forget it. Nobody's booking any tours.
Usually get one a year or over here?
Over here, it depends. We'll get a couple of small ones here. I mean, we just had one pass through. It didn't hit us directly, it hit Florida. But that week when it was about to come in, because it came in inland off the west coast of Florida, and then hit us with pretty nasty storms for you know, a couple of days. So again, I mean, I just shut it down. I called my guest that pre-booked like months ago, and I'm like, you can remove, you know, we can refund it or I can move it to another day. But you're not going to want to come down here anyway. They were coming down from up north. So they just canceled their whole trip. I refunded them. So, I mean, I'm easy going. I own the company.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to make somebody mad because the weather's bad.
How many tours you do a night? Just one? Or?
I just do one.
Yeah.
So I just do the 9 o'clock. But I'm out here 6 nights a week. I take Mondays off. So I just finished up a master's degree, so I kind of needed a homework day. But with October coming, I'll probably go 7 days a week. Because, I mean, I'll be booked solid.
Yeah, nice.
And that'll keep me going through.
Is there more activity in like Halloween or not?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter at all. Still got Kelly with us. She didn't lag behind.
The ripstick, yes.
It's just going to take a cone.
What's the craziest thing you ever seen?
On the tour or in general?
No, just in your life.
I used to see stuff when I was a kid, like all the time, and nobody believed me. So when I got older,
Yeah, you started investigating.
started diving into it even further. But I used to work with a psychic who was, I mean, he was phenomenal. That's how I got started with the investigation part of it. Which way you going, buddy?
I'm sorry, I put this thing by accident, but it's just like this now, right? I just
Yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, you guys can't screw anything up, so keep that in mind.
I like turned it off.
Unless Crystal starts deleting words off the list.
I would never.
Look, I did an investigation on the Flight 93 memorial in Shanksville.
Okay.
And I don't go in like poking around with my gadgets, you know, everything's just running on me. I have pockets and everything's just running. I just review the data later, but I like to go in blind. It's the exact opposite of what I'm doing for you guys. You guys are getting the story ahead of time and then investigating. With what I do, I go in blind. There was some deaths that happened here. Then I read, like I go through the data, then I read about it to see what matches up. So I don't get those subliminal messages.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, so this is a pretty popular area, so yeah, we'll go ahead and keep those turned down a little bit. Did you guys notice the gorgeous alley that we passed up? Philadelphia alley? So we're going to let this sort pass through. Okay. Just want to make sure you have room. Yeah, thank you. No problem. So that's Philadelphia alley. It's an interesting place. First off, it's the most beautiful coffee down. If you ever walk down again, it's the most picturesque place we have, and it's super quiet. And that is part of the whole ghost story that comes along with it. So it used to be called Jewelers Alley. So if you guys actually look behind you, you'll see an opening in the wall back there. So that's a gate that's been there. It's an original gate opening because during a duel, if there was a loser, they would pick up the dead guy, bring him through the gate over the courtyard, and drop the body over at the cemetery, go celebrate the winner. So that's the reason why that gate's there. I call it the Death Gate. So we all tell the story of one particular duel because we can actually prove it. And I actually get a lot of evidence, and this is another light story, so I'm sorry to feel the effects. There was a doctor he moved down here from Rhode Island. His name was Joseph Brown Ladd. He moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. The attorney that was handling all that money basically said, send the doctor away if it was just not your cash. So, did the word dog show up?
Properly.
Happens all the time with dogs. It's almost like somebody saying, I can see the dog. So, anyway, back to the doctor. So he moves down to Charleston to prove his point that he's not just after Amanda's money. Coachman,
Doctor just came up just before properly.
nice. So we're gonna keep going. We'll see if this first name shows up, or his Brown Ladd is his last name. So we'll see if Brown shows up because that can look your offense too. I like how you're holding on to the lens, by the way. That's awesome. He's just like so fearful of the breaking. Just wanted to get a chuckle out of you guys. Sorry, at your expense. But anyway, Coachman brings this doctor into town, sets him up to be robbed and killed. He looks pretty dapper. He just got out of med school. Somebody walking by, sees what's happening, and says, you don't want to stay here. Let me take you to 59 Church Street. It's a good place to stay. It's safe. We're on Church Street, just so you guys know, because of the judge. So the two become friends. Obviously, he saved this guy's life. The doctor's practice starts to take off. making lots of money. Amanda's going to be moving down soon. All is going well. He becomes known as the whistling doctor. So, of course, there's always a whistling something in every major city you guys are going to go to. I know lots of history. I'm sorry I'm getting you know. So anyway, him and Ralph are friends, but they go see plays together, but the doctor makes more money, so that means he gets better seats. That's just the way the hierarchy works here in Charleston. So they talk about the plays on the way home, instead of talking about it during. They're talking about the new actress that came to town, the doctor loved her, Ralph did not. They start arguing. Then it turns into an insult party on Amanda back home in Rhode Island. So again, it gets pretty ugly. They go their separate ways. Ralph has friends here. He's from here. He goes to his friends at the newspaper. He places an ad telling the whole city what a disgrace a doctor is to the city of Charleston. He's not from here. He charges too much. He's just a disgrace of a man. Obviously, the doctor sees the ad and rebuttals with, let's go to Jeweler's Alley. We're going to settle this. Somebody's going to die, you think. You take the 20 cases in turn. The doctor points his gun in the air and he shoots. He did not want to kill his friend. However, Ralph has his one shot and he puts it in Kelly's leg. So, and her kneecap. So the doctor drops. Kelly was the doctor in case you guys didn't get that. So, puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. He didn't come through the death gate. He didn't die. So his friends pick him up. They carry him back home to 59 Church Street. He died 10 days later, probably from bleeding out. So, they caught an orb. Just make fun of another tour. I did not. So anyway, they say as you walk through that alley, and the reason why it's so quiet is because you can hear the whistles from the doctor. So I used to take my girls down there, but it's residential. Tour guides are not allowed in residential areas. Well, Nick got caught, so I don't go down there anymore. But even as I'm telling this story, obviously we have the word doctor. Hopefully something pops up with leg or gunshot, maybe even the number 59 because he's made of 59 Church Street. So again, these are all key terms. One other thing before we go investigate this crazy female pirate across the street. You guys want to know what story they're hearing because it's very brief. Some of you already kind of mentioned it already. But, all right, so there's a cemetery up there, right? And there's a sign right inside the gate that says there's no ghost here but the Holy Ghost. Well, there's a reason for it because they don't want guys like me up there taking pictures. The reason is in 1888, a young lady died by the name of Sue Howard Hardy. Sue died 6 days after her stillborn child. Now, in 1987, a young photographer, local photographer, is taking pictures of all those cemeteries. He's putting a book together. He captures a full apparition over that grave, a woman wearing a shawl and a baby basket next to her, over the grave. Now, this is 1987.
June 10th.
Yeah. Somebody knew the story. You want to tell it? So, with that said, this stuff is gold for guys like me, but the picture's cursed. He sent this picture to Kodak to try to debunk it, because we don't have cell phones and Photoshop and all that mess. So with that, they can't debunk it either. But for me, this is gold, but it's cursed. Females that hold it, you're going to get the same symptoms I told you about back at Big John's. Females that are pregnant, probably not going to have a good pregnancy based on the gist of the story. I'm not going to have a young couple on my tour. I don't show you the picture. Call me 9 months from now because they handled the picture because I handed them my phone and they're going to have something go wrong with their child. I'm not going to be the result of that whole scenario. So in the event we get something that comes up out of that, now keep in mind Sue Howard Hardy, her initials are SHH. So if we get showing up on a spirit box, it could very well be Sue Howard Hardy. If I say her name is Susan, she usually corrects me and says Sue on your spirit box. But I did not call her Susan tonight, I called her Sue. So we'll see what happens with the rest of that story. Again, I told you, they're going on and on and on about it. I just gave you the whole story in like 3 minutes. The other interesting thing is, I told you they don't want paranormal investigators up there. The light you guys see over the cemetery is designed to point straight at the sign so that there is a reflection off of cameras for people trying to take the same picture. My cameras shoot right through it. It doesn't matter. So again, when I'm up here and I take some pictures and nobody's in the way on a cold January night, I take my groups up there, shoot some pictures, and see what comes up. Have I had stuff come up from Sue? Yes, I had and Sue and all kinds of things. One last thing to point out, the group's kind of in the way, but you guys see the burning gas lamp like off in the distance? It's the pirate house. So you can't miss it. It's got a big anchor on the front of it. Okay, so when you guys are walking around, I don't know how long you guys are going to be left here in town, but it's haunted because that's where Blackbeard's men used to come and drop off his men. He would stay on the ships, and they would have a place to stay, meet up with a few girls, and they also dug a tunnel from the pirate house 1 block away to Dock Street Theater. So Dock Street Theater is one of the top 10 haunted locations in America. Stand your way.
You're so fun.
I'm going to cross this way, let them pass through.
Yep.
Where are you from?
Alright, so back to the Pirate House. We dug that tunnel from the Pirate House 1 block away to Dock Street Theater, and at the time it was called Planters Hotel. It was a whorehouse, it was a hotel, and it was a playhouse. They went there, obviously for the whorehouse, but they also went there for the playhouse because they would go back there to work. In between bartering with the locals, pirates tied really good knots. They would work backstage and work on the ropes and the sandbags and that kind of thing. The tunnel just got filled in the 1990s. This is not a myth. Like, this is a real thing. There was a rumor that Blackbeard buried his treasure there, but we all know that damn treasure was in North Carolina. So, again, I did a lot of research. So, it was never there. By the way, somebody lives in the Pirate House. Do not go in his backyard. He gets pissed. Don't ask me how I know, but I'm also the guy that got kicked out of Philadelphia Alley. So, keep that in the back of your mind. I like to poke around. Now that I got your mind set up on pirates, we are going to go across the street, and I'm going to follow up with you one last time. How are you doing? Better? Now that you've been sitting? Good. All right, so we're going to go in between the black and the white SUV and go across the street. Let's head this way.
Cooler than last night?
It comes show up as well. I'll send it down.
This is where I take backpack break. And then we're going to have to change Ben's battery because I'm sure it's about to die. Ben, how's your battery doing? We're probably going to have to change it soon. Because I do want you to record in here as well when I'm done with the story. So we'll change it after. So, guys, sorry about all the other tours kind of in our way. We will stay out of their way as much as possible just because you guys are going to be noisy with the clear boxes and whatnot. But this story is kind of a doozy. So you guys are actually inside the original Charlestown walls. So I don't know how much you guys know about Charleston's history, but it was called a walled city because starting on Cumberland Street going this way is where it started. This is the powder magazine. This is where pretty much our story begins. It's the building with the crosses on it. Behind it is apartment buildings. So you can see lights on there, somebody's bathroom. But anyway, the powder magazine is the oldest government building on the East Coast. It was finished in 1713. It is literally tucked into the corner of where the original Charlestown Wall was. So reason for that is because it's 3 blocks away from the water. If it gets attacked by cannon, it's going to have a hard time going through the 32-inch thick walls. Let's say it does. There's gunpowder inside. It blows up. There's sand in the roof from 1712. That if the gunpowder blows up, it blows the sand up in the air, and then it falls to put out the fire to save the building. Sounds like a great idea, but that shit don't work. We had another powder magazine closer to the battery down at the end, and the sand went up and could not put out the fire. It actually burned to the ground, so it's no longer in existence. This one has never been attacked, even though it served in 7 different wars, including the Civil War. So gunpowder was moved quite often, so it didn't serve from start to finish. Keep that in mind. Now that you guys know the history of the building, it took 10 years to build this thing, 1703 to 1713, so a full decade. Our story begins in the middle, 1708. Follow me, there's a lot of twists and turns. A lot. So, it sounds like you took some tours earlier, so you guys might have already known a little bit of this already. So, 1708, a young lady moves here named Anne Cormack. She moves here with her dad and his mistress, who happens to be Anne's mother. You guys with me so far? They're getting away from his wife. You guys got me? Okay, cool. I got some blank stares, that's why I paused. Like, hang on, let me put that together. So they moved from Ireland to Charleston, halfway across the world to get away from a scorned woman. She sees the building being finished, Anne does. Obviously, she's doing dad's business down here while he has a plantation up in the Georgetown area. So it's a good, probably 2 to 3 hour carriage ride to get down here to do business. She's pretty badass, by the way. Rumor had it that she actually killed one of her servants with a knife to the belly when she was a child. So that kind of gives you the mentality of who this girl is. Fast forward, 1713, this building is finished, 1714, 15. Now we have pirates coming through town. This is pretty exciting for her. This is what she wants. She wants to be with the Captain Jack Sparrow, right? So she falls in love with one of these pirates pretty quickly. His name was James Bonney. Dad doesn't approve because he's a filthy pirate. He's run away to Jamaica. They get married. Anne Cormack becomes Anne Bonny, the most famous female pirate of the Golden Age of piracy. So when she gets down there, she realizes that Bonny is kind of a coward. He's a privateer. He's basically a spy for the British, which is the enemy for pirates. So she falls in love again because she didn't want this guy. She does fall in love with a guy named John Rackham, aka Calico Jack. Much cooler name, much better dressed. Calico Jack. So John Rackham is Calico Jack. I'll refer to him as Jack throughout the rest of the tale. So Jack has his own ship. She wants to be part of it. Females curse pirate ships. He says you can be part of the ship if you dress like a guy, like part of the crew. She's okay with this because Dad used to cross-dress her back in Ireland at his attorney office to keep her away from his wife, so he can still see his daughter. So she gets it. You know, she just wants to be a free female. She's allowed to be a female in his quarters. Of course, he's the captain. That's the way things go. Being a female in his quarters, of course she gets pregnant. What's Jack do? He drops her off in Cuba. Can't have a pregnant dude on the crew, so he says, go over here, have the kid, come back, we'll figure it out when you come back. She comes back with no child, and she's dressed like a female. We have no idea what happened to the kid. Don't know the gender, anything, nothing. As she's dressed like a female, this of course makes Jack mad. He just acquired and captured another pirate crew that's down below deck. She's gonna go flirt with these guys to make him even more jealous. So the guy she's flirting with reveals his gender to be a female, pretending to be a guy to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack just captured. You guys with me on that one?
Yeah.
Because it's a tongue twister, I don't want to say it again. So, now we have a second female doing the exact same thing. Her name is Mary Reed. She convinces Mary to become part of the crew. The British find out where they are. They send the entire fleet in to come capture this ship. Now, all the men are down below deck, too drunk to come up. So, of course, Anne Bonny and Mary Reed are the only two men up above deck fighting off a fleet of ships. The ship gets captured, of course. Calico Jack, as he's getting arrested, her last words to him were, you should have fought like a man instead of going down like a dog. And that's why I was also waiting for the word dog to show up on your list. So, again, dog is pretty prominent here. The judge wants to see the two men that fought back so valiantly, separately, a week later. He's already tried and hung all the other pirates, including Calico Jack. They're all dead. They go in front of the judge. His name was Nicholas Laws. So if my name shows up here, it's not me, it's the judge. So kind of keep that in mind. They reveal their gender. He doesn't care. They're still pirates to him. You're still going to hang. We plead our bellies, was the last thing they said, meaning they're both claiming to be pregnant. You can't hang a pregnant woman in 1720. Okay, back to jail. We'll just delay your hanging. Dad is still here in Charleston, bails Anne out, brings her back here. She remarries again. That's guy number 4. We're counting Mary Reed. Has 4 kids and dies at the age of 84. Yeah, that's all the facts we know. We know nothing else. I know you're shaking your head like this is crazy stuff. Now, Mary Reed, she is stuck in a Jamaican jail. So she died in a Jamaican jail from whatever pirates die from in a Jamaican jail. It was probably bumpy, gross, oozy, all of that nasty mess. So that was 1721 when she died. Their trial was on November 28th, 1720. So literally we just passed the 300-year anniversary of that trial. I gave you everything I know based on the common things that came out of 5 different books I've read about this woman. There's a lot of holes in this story. You're free to ask whatever you want, but the only 2 things I did not give you, the name of Anne Bonny's parents and the name of Calico Jack's ship. So, no Googling. Have some fun with this. We are going to stay out of their way, even though I want our spirit boxes to get close to that building. Cameras, even lasers and cameras, if you want to go to the front, shine your lasers on the front lawn. Don't go above the building because you're going to shine it into somebody's living room. Just don't go too far. Take lots of pictures. As far as the thermal imaging camera, Rob, you can do the same thing. Put your camera right inside the gate and see what hang out for a minute or 2. You're the same way once we get you a new battery. I want to make sure you're not going to die. But we are going to ask a lot of questions here. EMF, this is a dead zone. If the 2 of you get anything, I will be excited because that means something else is probably going off. Play around with your REM pod. Just stay out of the way of these other large groups. They already, like I said, I'm not a fan. They're not fans of me. I take a lot of business from them. So, again, let's have some fun. Spread out. Get some pictures. I'm going to work with Ben and get his battery changed out and make sure his lens isn't going to fall off again. So, were you just kind of...
What?
Those are telling you that I'm wifey and he's the wife for me.
Uh-huh.
That's what they're trying to tell you. And that you're a demon.
go like this.
Yeah. What's the name of Calico Jack's ship? Hmm.
The word hammer came up, and then the word race came up.
What does that mean?
Hammer race.
Hammer race?
I got it. You have the hammer and you like to race cars.
Yeah, your hammer race.
I know people can't wear watches because everything dies
The
on
battery.
Really? How does that happen? How many pictures did you take?
The ghost is trying to get energy.
Yeah.
Sucking it
I
out.
literally have these things charging from my previous night tour, and I don't take them off until I clean them to leave to come to work.
So
Yeah, we probably took like 5 pictures.
Yeah, about
How many?
like 5.
500?
5?
No, like here.
No, I meant in general.
Oh, probably like 20 to 30.
How many?
Like 20.
You got more than 20.
Okay, so we like 20 to 30.
I'm gonna guess. If this thing is above 400 to 500 pictures, that'll be the blame for the battery
I don't
dying.
think I took
Definitely
that
not.
many. Yeah.
No, she wasn't
Okay.
Not
taking
even
that many
close.
pictures.
Something sucked it out.
Yeah.
She wasn't taking that many pictures at all.
And I think with him, with that thing going off the way it is, it's only when he's holding it. So he's giving off something. And it's not his watch, it's dead. Yeah. Because we set it down and it was completely dead. Like he's holding it right now, I can hear it going off. If somebody's here, walk away from that black box. Make it go back. Make it go to green and stay there. Now make it go back to purple. Go back to purple. You got to get closer to it now. I need you to get close to the black box with the metal stick. Make it go to purple. Purple. purple, get closer to it. Purple above it or below it?
Purple is
Purple's closer.
Purple's further than.
Okay, get closer. Go all the way to purple. Come on, closer. What's your word list doing?
Reading off t-shirt.
T-shirt? And they got something that says something on their t-shirt?
Before that, when I walked over here, we were reading status. It was dress status.
You got draw, as in a duel,
Yeah.
right after doctor, and fate.
Oh,
Like,
those are good ones.
yeah, like vaguely close is what I call that. It's kind of like they're really right there, but doctor, you can't mess with that one. Like that's pretty solid.
Is that part of the original wall?
No, the original wall it was further up. It was about half a block, and then started going down south.
Okay, that's just random wall.
Yeah, I want to say that wall was put
pretty
up
thick.
when it was a mercantile, because you can even see like in the rooftop of the apartment building,
Uh-huh.
like this was extended in a smaller building back here, and then they built it up to apartments. Sorry, I was trying to hand it off to the wrong person.
It looks like it might have even been wider because the bait, if you look on the right side on the floor, it looks like it was a part of a wall that was taken down. Looks like it might have been like
Yeah, because I use
even
that
wider
ledge all
than
the
that.
time to like collect devices and whatever. Do you know? Did anybody tell you about the earthquake bolts? The crosses on there.
No.
So earthquake bolts, because of that big earthquake I told you about at the beginning. This was the first building that they put the bolts in. It's basically a turnbuckle, so if it gets quaked
I
again,
heard about that.
they twist them.
They turn it to
And
straighten
it's
up the walls.
Right, but it don't work.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So I talked to a lot of Californians. I'm like, tell me if that actually works. I'm like, oh no, that never worked. So we got a whole new technology for that now. So, well, girls, I'm sorry about the camera, but it happens.
Okay.
I mean,
No,
what are we
it's
supposed
okay.
to- I mean, it's not.
No, not at all.
It is definitely something going on. But
I
again,
wish I had this right by them when that went off.
yeah. Well, again, with that.
Yeah,
With-
you walk this way,
Yeah,
right?
we show you it, yeah.
Now with that is, I don't catch something with that every night. So, and I only skim through this stuff. You guys are recording like 9 hours worth of stuff. I don't go through all of it. That's what you paid me for. I just kind of skim through it, except for your word list and the photographs are the only things I go through everything. But everything else, I just kind of skim it. See what happens. If I find something, I kind of flip it out and show you guys where it's at, give you the marker. That way you guys can see it for yourself. But it's up to you guys to really find the rest. That's the whole point of this. It's all about the research. It's always about the
You want to
research.
note the time when her camera went off?
Yeah, I have a notebook.
Okay, you get it ready?
Yeah. I was getting ready to do that. I was
They,
waiting for my-
they did cross by us right before, but I don't know.
Yeah, she was like fiddling with the camera, I saw, right when she passed us.
Again, I mean, everything else is pretty good. I know which batteries are going to die, which is usually the full spectrum. Usually by the time I get to this point, he didn't have much left. So, powder magazine. I just make notes to myself for the things that don't record or actual happenings. Like I wrote down Kelly's leg. So like that's a thing. Digital camera. Bless you. You feeling okay? You've been coughing and sneezing a lot.
I just have not sneezing really, but I have like a dry throat because when I got here I was really dehydrated and I was throwing up from dehydration. So it's just raw.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was just concerned. It wasn't like, oh my God, get away.
No, yeah.
How's the leg?
A little tingly.
Still? Yeah.
Not horrible, just a little.
How's your spirit box going? Anything coming out of that thing?
I just asked like, what's the name of your mother and father, and all I heard was Daddy.
Okay. That's what she must have called him. But we wanted his actual first name.
Yeah.
But I would still say that that's relevant.
Yeah. I kept asking like, what's your mother's name? What's your father's name? Nothing.
Nothing. Did you get the name of the ship?
No.
It's a hard one.
No. I kept asking like, I was over there, I was there. But Ariana, for some reason, like she's like, why do I keep getting pulled to number 3? Like the parking spot over there, 3. Like something going on over there. I don't know.
Let's go take the thermometer over there now that there's
No
no good.
birthing or something?
Yeah. It's like, why do you keep calling me Sister Ray?
Well, those electrical lines are running that way, so that way they can get to the light post. We are just kind of testing some of that with his monitor in motion. So we did get a little bit of call and answer kind of mentality, but you being this close, a lot of times that device person will go over there, and they're like, this corner's crazy. I'm like, there's a pole right there. So,
It's stuck on 1.2 though right now.
yeah, because you're going to get the feedback from that string and the pole. Anything being heard on yours?
I thought I heard Liz a bunch of times when I asked the mother's name.
You said Liz?
Liz.
No.
I thought we heard the name Liz 2 or 3 times.
3.3, 3.2, 3.3,
It's
3.2.
off right now too, so if you want to use that one, it's up to you. Keep testing to see if she sounds it. Again, you're interrupting the field around me. So when I'm using like a pendulum board, because I do use things that are not electronic, I'll put the millimeter underneath the pendulum. So if it goes off and I get sways from the pendulum, I know it's legit, it's not the AC blowing it, that kind of thing. So again, I use all of this stuff in conjunction with what other things that I do. It's just for you guys needing actual proof, I'm not going to go off, I'm not going to hand a Ouija board around and say, let's have some fun.
Ouija boards work?
Depends on who's using it. So they've worked for me. I've had nights where it did nothing. So it depends on state of mind, moon phases, what's going on around me. Yeah, have I been channeled? I've been channeled before where I don't remember a damn thing. My wife has to record stuff and tell me what happened later. I don't know if you guys, like, I smoke a lot and I vape. So if this tastes like cigars, which often happens when I'm using it, somebody's coming close to me that used to smoke cigars, because that's all I can taste out of this and that's all I'll talk about. I'll keep smoking and smoking and smoking until the room fills up, and because all I want to do is take the cigar. It's happened twice now.
It's crazy.
And I know what a cigar tastes like, because I smoke cigars too. So, not good cigars.
Okay.
I like to smoke cigars. Nothing going on there?
Not just hitting 2.7, 2.8, 2.9. No like crazy feedback.
Oh, but going back to the earthquake bolts, those are the first set of earthquake bolts that they put in Charleston. So that's why they look so crude. They're kind of coming off the building a little bit. So we'll wait for Ben to come back, and then we'll go ahead, because I'm not really getting you guys to really give me anything else you've heard that might be connected. I am super stoked that we have things wrapped around the doctor and the dual over there, so I'll kind of let everybody know what's going on there. But yeah, we'll get this party wrapped up, and I'm going to be following up with Kelly for at least a day so I can see how she's doing. It is concerning. So let's go over by the wall, so maybe she can have a seat and relax a little bit more while I collect the device.
Yeah, this part looks like this might have been another wall, right?
It could have been. Very well could have been. Ben, I'll take yours first, only because I know it's kind of snapping in half. Good job. Alright, so, fine. Again, it's a learning curve with this one because it's new. We did get the word draw as well, guys, just so you guys know, on the word list when we were talking about the duel over at Philadelphia Alley, so that's definitely relative, and the word doctor right next to it. I want to say it was only 2 words away. We'll see what happens on obviously the full spectrum camera when that comes through. Our digital camera for the lasers died. I want you guys all to know, honestly, I don't pull the things off the chargers until I leave the house. So they are all fully charged when I leave. So, again,